Good day everyone. In today's video, we will deep dive into Azure Databricks reference architecture. We will explore how structured, semi-structured and unstructured data from various sources are transformed and optimized using the medallion architecture, then seamlessly integrated into Azure Synapse for powerful reporting. Let's get started. So the source that we have in this reference architecture diagram is that we have several sources here like structured data, semi-structured data, flat files, and unstructured data as well. And we have data coming from IoT devices as well, which is considered mostly as unstructured data. So any logs, data coming as media, everything is unstructured data. And we have some business and custom apps which are structured data. So what happens is like we have this Azure Data Factory, which basically looks at the source data, and what it does is like it moves these source data as per the business requirement onto the Azure Data Lake storage. Azure Data Factory basically acts as an ingestion tool, like it acts as a data orchestrator, wherein it gets the required data from the source, and then what it basically does is like it moves on to the Azure Data Lake storage. Yeah, once the data is in Azure Data Lake storage, what happens is like we have our Azure Databricks, which basically what it does is like it transforms the data utilizing the concept of medallion architecture. That is, what it does is like it gets the bronze data from the Azure Data Lake storage, and then what it does is like it transforms the data and processes the data. It checks, for example, some business logic, like for some data shouldn't be null, like for example date of birth or bank balance and things like that. It checks the data, and what it does is like it transforms those data and puts it in the silver layer. Yeah, and once the data is in the silver layer, Azure Databricks, what it does is like it again aggregates the data as per the required business logic, and then we have our gold data ready. Once the gold data is ready, what happens is like that particular data is fed into Cosmos DB, Azure SQL databases, or Azure Synapse, and then what we do is like we use our reporting tools such as Power BI to generate the required reports, or we can use the required application and connect to these databases like Cosmos DB and Azure SQL database, and then get the required data and then perform things accordingly. Yeah, and in addition to this, we can also have our MI flow, ML flow, which is machine learning flow, and we can get the data from the Azure Databricks. Like the Azure Databricks can transform the data, and it can be utilized as per the requirement. Okay, so now what I'm going to do in future videos is like I'm going to first work on Azure Data Factory. That is, I'm going to show like how we can orchestrate the data, since Azure Data Factory is a data orchestration tool. I will basically be showing like how we can get the data from several sources and then move the data across to Azure Data Lake storage. And then what we can do is like we can try utilizing Azure Databricks and then try cleaning up the data, change the data, transform the data as per the business requirement, and then we can take it forward. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.